support people who lost their jobs because of the layoffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you must also now be the most famous recruiter in the gaming industry. If you spoke to like 1,000 of them, everyone must know Alla Pavlova now.
No, I don't think everyone knows me, but those people who spoke with me, yeah, so they're coming back to me saying if they get the job or if they get the interviews. I think that's what we need to do as recruiters. We need to help with our craft, like help people.
That's super. And I know you didn't do it for that reason, but I can see the mega value or return down the line. You know, I mean, even just getting recommendations or the goodwill, that all convert into really positive stuff. So that's crazy. Folks, did you know Alla Pavlova has spoken to 1,000 games developers in 2024? That was basically just having free consultancy and conversations to people who basically are involuntarily on the market. Gaming industry obviously has been having a very tough ride. So incredible story. We have to talk about that at some other point. I know you're going to write about it, but maybe it's a good topic for a Brainfood Live in any case. Anyway, folks, welcome everybody to Brainfood Live on Air, bringing it to you every Friday, no fail. Doesn't matter where the heck we are. We're still going to do it at this time. I hope you can all hear and see me okay. Apologies firstly for this garish lighting. I actually don't look much better than this in real life. However, the lighting isn't helping. So I hope you can still at least see some image that looks like home. You can certainly see Alla. Hopefully you can see her as well. And hopefully you can hear me okay as well. So let me know in the chat stream if you're watching this on Crowdcast whether the audio and visual is okay. If you're watching this on any of the social channels on LinkedIn, I think we've got a record number of people broadcasting this on LinkedIn. So if you're watching it on Juliana's channel, if you're watching this on Willem's channel, if you're watching this on whoever's channel, let me know in the comments below whether the audio and visual is okay there. Let me just check quickly whether I'm actually broadcasting myself there. I think I saw myself very briefly. You know, LinkedIn are going to get rid of the creator mode. Did you read that from Andy earlier this morning?
Not yet.
Yeah, well, apparently they're going to get rid of it, and I don't know whether that means that's the end of LinkedIn Live. So it's a bit concerning because that's obviously a very powerful way to distribute a conversation. But it looks like LinkedIn Live is on. Let me just quickly check. I can no longer see it on my mobile, so that's alarming. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Joey. People have actually can hear me okay. All right, let's get on with it. Fantastic stuff. Well, firstly, welcome Alla Pavlova. Welcome back. Thank you for coming and having this chat with us. Adam Golden, by the way, he's on a ski slope. And in any case, we needed more sourcing expertise for this particular show. So great to see you, Alla. For the folks who don't know you, do you want to quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Alla Pavlova, and I see Pavlovian happening in the comments. So thank you, guys. I love the memes. I'm based in the Netherlands. I'm a hands-on sourcer and a trainer, working in gaming, helping others. I did a lot of volunteering time for those who lost the job. So if you want to talk about it, please feel free to reach out. And this topic is really close to me because I have two types of people. The topic that we're going to discuss today is like the ones who are freaking out because there's a changes and it's a really like a panic type of posts happening, and the others who say it works for me. So I would like to find today like something that's in the middle.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, in case we're going to get into this conversation very shortly, but this show is about LinkedIn X-ray, dead, dying, or what. You probably already aware by now that there has been significant changes for some of you in terms of your ability to find information off platform on LinkedIn profile data using some of the tools that we are on, techniques that we've actually been very well used to by now, how to X-ray LinkedIn on a search engine. And we're basically going to use today to kind of see it as a global town hall of everyone who cares about this topic and everyone who knows about sourcing. I know we've got 5-6 people already nominated to bring on, but I intend to bring more people on if you want to contribute and talk about this. I see this as like just a town hall where we as recruiters, as sourcers can, number one, discuss what is going on exactly. Number two, is this an experiment or a stage rollout? Number three, do we know anything else from the independent sort of research we've done? And number three, what the implications are if worst case scenario, this does look like, you know, a closing off of data that LinkedIn is doing. But anyway, before we get into that, we always have to thank our sponsors for supporting Brainfood Live every week. Everyone, you know, some amazing company steps up and says, yes, Hung, I'm prepared to keep giving you some money to help this thing keep rolling. And today we've got one of our really cool sponsors supporting us. It's Ashby, the coolest ATS on the planet, it seems. Everyone's raving about this product. And it looks like the next best thing that's coming out of that sector. But let's not sort of have me talk too much about it. Why don't we bring on an Ashby representative, and they can tell us all about it. And I'm delighted to do this because you should know this guy because he's actually one of us. It is Willem Wijnands. Let's see if I can bring Willem on. And I love this because he's actually one of the few like TA folks. We were talking a couple of days ago about, you know, us chatting when he was in the Backbase days, and now he's actually gone vendor side and done wonderful work for a number of areas there. So let's bring Willem on, and it'd be great to see him get his opinions actually on what's going on this topic, but also to hear a bit more about Ashby and why he's joined it and why other companies should care. There he is. Willem, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Big sorcerer by heart myself, right? So
I know this is why you're just perfect for this. I want to first check whether you have your branding on point, man. Are you wearing the stuff? There he is. Good Lord.
I've got everything on. I feel completely a mascot of myself, and
that's it. The amount of sponsors that come on that fail to wear branding, I'm just astonished at that. It's like such a marketing oversight.
No. I even have my Ashby shoes somewhere here, so you can't see them, but like my
you have the
shoes
full
are somewhere
kit.
in the yeah.
Well, listen, Willem, why don't you tell us a bit about Ashby? I mean, I think most of us know a little bit about the business, but probably a lot of us aren't currently users, or we haven't had we're still using some other technologies. Like, why do we need new ATS, etc.? Can you give us a bit of that chat? Like, what is it? What is the story behind this product?
Yeah, so I'm early Ashby customer. I was one of the design partners. I was very frustrated with the status quo of what we were served by the traditional companies out there. Mainly that I needed to buy a lot of separate tools on top of my ATS. One is sourcing, kind of like the ability to outbound and sequence and do all the automations, but there's also scheduling, which always was a big problem for me. Doing great data analytics, I would always need to buy third-party tooling or bug my data teams, and Ashby is basically solving all of that. So we have a state-of-the-art ATS which has all the automation. And great thing is that Alla can probably speak better about this, but she's also a customer of ours. And you know, the ability to do that data, for me, you know, the ability to drive good data up to C-level and not having to do crunching in Excel and all that stuff really made me even more strategic to my management, really. Kind of loved using it so much when I was still being a head of TA here in the Netherlands, that I joined them almost 2 years ago now to basically lead everything Ashby EMEA. That's also why we're here today. I am obviously interested in meeting all of you and showing you Ashby. So got a pretty nice deal lined up for anyone that's interested in having a demo with us, which is for the first 50 people that sign up to a demo. We're going to be able to give you 20% off, which we basically don't discount, but 20% off on your first year while using Ashby. And that could be the all-in-one product, so the ATS with all of its bells and whistles, or just our analytics component, which we also sell separately on your existing ATS. So for everyone, there's a space, and I would love to speak to you or one of my team members to speak to you.
That's amazing. So, Alla, you've got to cancel your subscription straight away and then reapply.
Exactly. I'm sorry, my English is not my first language. 50 or 15?
Just no, 20, 20, 20, 20%.
No. How many people? The first 50 people, 50.
Yeah, the first 50 people, yeah.
Okay, guys,
all right.
Go take it.
Folks, go. Take it. What we want.
There's 126 people here, so I think we have I can share the link yet from the.
Yeah, share the link into the chat stream, and what I'll do is I'll get someone to share that link across all of the LinkedIns that are being watched right now. So I think there's about 10 people that are also restreaming this. I don't know how many extra people will be watching, but presumably there's going to be a bunch of people there. So folks, if you are interested in checking out Ashby, the ATS everyone's been talking about, and you want to get a 20% off any of the things that you might buy, whether it's the core product or additional products or whatever it might be, you've got a shot at doing it. First 50 that sign up actually will get access to that discount. So that link's just been shared by Willem right there in the chat stream. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to distribute it to the LinkedIn, at least one of the LinkedIns. Folks, if you've got this as well and you want to kind of spread this out, then go ahead and punch it somewhere on LinkedIn and help people get into a better ATS. Okay, cool. Willem, listen, before we let you go, I also want to get your take on the situation with LinkedIn. I'd be interested to know two angles. Number one, from your sourcing perspective, and number two, from a product side now, what you think the implications is. I mean, is it at the end of the day bad for sources but good for product people, or is it bad for sources and bad for product people? What's your take?
So when I still was like full on sourcing back in the days, I did do a lot of X-raying, but I didn't do that much on LinkedIn. I mostly did like GitHub and like the adjacent stuff. So for me personally, I think it's obviously not great that we are not able to search through the public data anymore. But I also have to say that like a normal search on LinkedIn nowadays is also quite powerful already. So I think for me as an end user, or like for sourcers, like I see some difficulties, but I don't think they will not be able to do their job. And LinkedIn is obviously being LinkedIn. They want to keep the source protected. But I do think is interesting for like, you know, the aggregators and the vendors out there, right? That's, you know, they basically rely heavily on aggregating the data through the public profiles. I think that's where a lot of sourcers will probably, because we all use tools like, you know, Ashby also it has a sourcing component built in, right? So I think the implication of kind of like the tooling and how that will be, you know, I'm not sure yet, you know, if we will be able to continue to use the third-party products that we've all been using as sourcers and recruiters. So that is an interesting thing, and I would love to hear from your beautiful speakers.
We're going to bring our, basically I'm going to do it in two ways. So right now this is going to be source only, so practitioner trainer coming on this time, but I think in 2 weeks time my plan is to actually get the aggregators on if they're prepared to share screen or together. We'll get them all on. Let's front up like how is this going to affect you, and is it the sort of existential challenge that it might well be. Okay, Willem, well, listen, thanks for coming on screen. That's wonderful to see you. Stay with us. We'll love to speak to you again soon, which we will do actually, because we're going to do a report show a couple of weeks down the line. So that's already set up, folks. So if you want to watch that, Ashby do some amazing reports in terms of what's actually going on in the marketplace. We're going to bring Willem to talk about that as well. So
yeah, that's also about sourcing, by the way. So that's going to be, you know, good leeway into this. But anyway, have fun all. I hope to see you on the demos. And
all right,
thanks for having me.
Great to see you, man.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Willem. Yeah, I think one of the greatest things about Ashby is all the integrations and automations. There's something like, it could take 1 minute just to submit the candidate and create the campaign. So that's the reason why I started to use. Yeah, I really like it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of the few products that have come into kind of play very quickly, very recently, and it's got a lot of people excited. So I thought the era of, you know, exciting ATSs, so to say, I thought
exciting
that was over.
ATS. These two things are never mentioned together.
This is what I believe, but suddenly it seems to be happening. Okay, let's bring on some of our guests that we've been waiting ages. I'm going to bring on Marcel first, because I think he was the first guy to break the news to everybody. So let's bring him on. Yeah. But I want to bring everyone on together because, you know, let's just have a proper chat. I think I saw Mike Santoro. Is Mike there? There he is. Let's bring him on. I think Irina is here. Let me just check if she is. There she is. I'll bring Irina on. There's actually a lot of people, so I wonder whether it might sort of be a bit bitty on bandwidth. If so, we'll have to do a bit of a swap around.
You can kick me out.
Sure.
I should come back.
You'll be the first to go. Get rid of Alla. No, there'll be a riot if that happened. All right, we've got some of our guys on. Brilliant. Okay, so Marcel, great to see you, and Mike, great to see you as well. Marcel, let's go to you first. Can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Marcel van der Meer, global sourcing trainer. I train recruiters to search and seduce very easily.
Fantastic stuff. Great to see you, Marcel. And we've got two Irinas there, which is always a bonus, but you know, it's somehow disappointing. I don't know. You've probably got a double browser on or something, but we can also hear you twice. Let me see if I can remove one of you, but I suspect I might end up removing both. Let's do that. Yeah, she's blasted off. No, there's one of her back. I don't know. Mike, great to see you. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Mike Santoro. I'm a talent sourcer at AllSearch Recruiting, which is a national search firm in the United States. I'm also a sourcing tool creator. Created a few tools for sourcers, and I really love X-ray sourcing. I've published a lot of articles about it, especially X-raying LinkedIn. And it's a very sad day. I'm wearing black because it's sad. We need to mourn the loss of our LinkedIn X-ray. So, all right, glad to be here. Really, thanks, Hung.
No worries. Really clear positioning right there, straight off the bat. And we've got Balazs here as well. Wonderful to see you, Balazs. For the people who don't know you, can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do, Balazs?
Thank you, Han. Thanks for inviting. Yeah, my name is Balazs, and I'm wearing gold because it's a golden day, Mike. No, just kidding. LinkedIn X-ray finally is dead. No, just kidding. Yeah, I've been on sourcing for what, 20 years. Went through the career ladder from, like building huge centers for companies, and since 2020. I'm running my own boutique consultancy. We help companies actually maximize their sourcing. We train, we consult, we do technology, a lot of good stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, let's just take it from the top. I mean, the question that this event was set up, I think immediately after it was you, Marcel, that broke the news, so to say, and I set up the event 3 years. Is it dead, dying, or what? Have we got any confirmation as to current status? Because some people are saying, hey, nothing's changed on my side. What is the story? Does anybody want to volunteer sort of an explanation as to why some people are seeing certain things and other people aren't?
Let me explain this. For most of the people, they can search because a lot of the profiles are still open. So my profile is closed. Mike's profile is closed. Your profile is also closed, Han. But a lot of profiles are still open. So if people search with the old X-ray, they can still find profile. But I prepared three searches for you all guys, all to test if you can find anything with your account, with your browser, with your IP address, to see if we can find anything. So I've prepared three searches. Check.
Nice, live demo. Let's do it.
Live demo. This is another one.
Okay, so
this is the last one. This is from you, your profile. The last one. Maybe you organize one of those sprint group.
Yeah.
300 notes that are your old employees.
Yeah.
I can find 0, but if anybody can find your profile with this search thing.
Yeah, it's all in the chat, man. We're not showing it on screen, but basically, Marcel's just shared some essentially search strings. So feel free to plug them into Google and then see what comes up out of it. So basically, it's apparently I don't appear, and I should do, and I would have done prior to this change. Okay, so can someone explain what has happened? Mike, do you want to give that an overview? What's your take on what has occurred?
Yeah, so we've all been looking at this very carefully in the community, and what we realized a few weeks ago that Marcel brought up is that LinkedIn started to redact or hide information on the public profile. The public profile is what gets indexed by Google, and that's what LinkedIn started to kind of put a disguise over, and we couldn't see it. We thought that we were in the clear for a little bit because we started to notice that because even though the profile was redacted visibly, the code wasn't redacted. And for a little while, there was like, okay, maybe we'll be okay because the underlying profile data was still there in the browser. But then shortly after, we all realized that all of that data has now been redacted. And when I'm saying what we've lost, Hung, is what we know for certain we've lost is things like work history. So job titles, the job title of their current employer, job titles of past employers, we no longer will be able to search for with Google, with X-Ray. Past company names we've lost. We've lost the headline. That has been removed, redacted from the profile. We've lost the about section where people would put a lot of information about their core competencies, core skills. We've lost the education section, so we can't search anymore by like the degree they have, the major they have, when they graduated, the school they went to, the recommendations section that had recommendations text, which was a unique way to search. So all of these really key core pieces of data that we were able to use to search via Google and X-Ray and find relevant profiles are now completely hidden, redacted, removed from the public profile. And so we have no way now to search for that information. So it's really making it a lot less valuable of a tool to search X-Ray with LinkedIn.
Yeah, very interesting. Balazs, take your view on it. I mean, have you got anything to add from the experiments you've done since this revelation emerged? What have you kind of discovered?
Right, just one thing is that what we see, okay, try not to go too far, but what I see, as a new behavior of humankind, right? If you pay attention to the youngsters, how they behave, how they treat data, right? I'm not talking about my age group and your age group, but like people in the age of 20 and and even below, those people are really protective to towards to their data privacy. And so what I'm trying to say is that like what you see with LinkedIn, I think it makes sense. Because the age group, the generations which are coming up, like they don't like to put all of their data online. Now, I'm sharing this link with you, and this is something that Alexandra discovered. So there are multiple things on LinkedIn. How LinkedIn is trying to teach us how to share our public data, like how to share our data publicly. And also, if I share you this link, right? Let me just give you these two. So what I'm trying to say is that LinkedIn will not want to lose their SEO, right? We all have to understand this one. Like, when you search for your name, LinkedIn still wants the first results to be a LinkedIn result. And that's X-ray data if you wish, right? So that will stay. But what LinkedIn is trying to do is just to try to make it more private if you want to make it more private. Now, assume that LinkedIn certainly would like to fuck off, with all of the other tech providers who are using LinkedIn data for free. That's our assumption, right? We assume that that's why they did it. But you have to see both angles. You have to see this, with the tech providers, and you have to also see like a new behavior of the users who need more privacy, who wants to make sure that, that they are like digital profiles are protected and saved, and they can control what they share with the world. Now, that's my take, for now, that's the starting point. I know it's not a sourcing aspect, but I think, sometimes we make a mistake that we only see the word via the sourcer magnifying glass, and we don't really understand the whole picture. That's the whole picture. And that's why I think it's important to talk about all of these aspects.
Yeah, really, really important point. I mean, I think, and just to restate what I think Balazs is commenting on there, the information we're getting from LinkedIn is that essentially you've got the information we're getting from LinkedIn is they're making a pro-privacy move. So that's their positioning on it. Now, I think Irina shared some information in the chat with regards to what that looks like. They're saying they're trying to protect people's privacy. There is an argument against this, but we can accept that the privacy consciousness has increased amongst human beings generally, and therefore outside of the recruiting and sourcing community, presumably a lot of people will be saying, yeah, sure, I have no problem with this redaction.
It's nonsense.
Maybe. Go ahead, Irina, go ahead.
I'm saying it's nonsense. If you read this thing in my blog that I also pasted here, the last phrase is, we want to give members control over how they appear. Now, they exactly took out that control. If you go to your preferences, I have everything public. LinkedIn doesn't respect that, okay? So LinkedIn forcefully made everyone private without asking members. Now, I'm in touch with Jen Reid, Marcel has been in touch with him too. He's a fantastic guy. And he said he will forward my blog post to the trust department, but I'm afraid I will have no answer from them.
All right, so Irina, is everyone clear on Irina's point there? Basically what LinkedIn is saying, which is they're saying they're trying to protect privacy, that's well and good. We can kind of endorse that, or at least understand the positioning, but they've done so unilaterally without consulting any of the users that's what they've done. And it also appears that you can't overturn the verdict, right? So they've said, right, we're not going to allow large parts of your profile to be crawled by Google, let's say, and therefore discoverable on search. But sometimes you may wish for that to happen. So for instance, if you're a candidate, then you probably want as maximum exposure as possible. It makes no sense for you not to be searched by recruiters. So presumably you would be one of those people that would say, actually, I want to be completely public. I don't want to be private right now. But LinkedIn is not providing or respecting that choice using your language.
You can choose your preferences, Tom. If you go to your preferences, you can still make everything public, okay?
Well, you can make everything public, but is it actually being crawled?
It's not respected.
Yeah, so in other words, none of that makes sense. You can basically make your profile as public as possible on your settings profile, but it's not going to be a published page that's searchable on Google. Quick question, is this Google? Is it all search engines? Can I just flick over to Bing?
Come on. Search engines don't have a LinkedIn login, okay? None of search engines can log into LinkedIn. That means that Bing, which is also a search engine, Google, you name it, will not see this data. If in your country it still does, it will go away in a week, okay?
So basically, if people are seeing things that we're not talking about, it's because it's a stage rollout, basically. It's rolled out in one territory and then the next and then the next and the next, and eventually globally, we're going to see the dying of the light when it comes to LinkedIn.
There are two things happening. One is taking down profiles, some are still public, and two, Google catching up. But this will happen, it's inevitable.
Yeah, so the question, is LinkedIn dead, dying, or what? It's probably dying, right? LinkedIn X-ray is probably at the dying phase, it looks like.
Slow death.
Yeah, it's slow death, and
it's
it will
slow
happen.
Death.
Okay, so if this happens, like, how big a deal is it to sourcing, would you say? Open question to everyone, really, including you, Alla. How big a deal is it for sourcing, your capability of doing your job? What are your thoughts?
I think, we all should be in agreement that, probably there's like a 15% of recruiters. That's what we see as per the measures based on your study, like your poll, our poll, many other people's poll. Like 50% of the recruiters, they used X-ray primarily because they didn't have LinkedIn Recruiter. And because they didn't have LinkedIn Recruiter, they had something different. They may have LinkedIn Recruiter Lite, they may have LinkedIn Premium, SalesNet, whatsoever. And as an addition to those licenses, they use X-ray. Now, it's a really like those recruiters who didn't have any paid account. That's the really tiny minority of the recruiters nowadays. Like everyone is paying something. Like most of the recruiters are paying something to LinkedIn already. And again, as an addition, they were using X-ray. For them, it will be a trouble. That's one. But for the rest of the recruiters, I would say probably more than 95% of the recruiters, they won't even notice. That's one. The second, okay, Marcel, you can argue, that's fine. I love it. The other, what we certainly agree is that this will make a huge impact on those search tools like that utilize LinkedIn public data. The tools like the HighReasys, the Seekouts, the amazing hands and whatsoever. We assume that these tools were leveraging public LinkedIn data, and that's how they built their database, right? For them, probably it will be a big crack. Like probably that, for them it will be hard. Marcel, you said that based on your experience, you say it's probably you were just like nodding like this, Rob, and I said like,
oh no, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you because
come on, man, argue, fine. Let's make it interesting, people.
Most recruiters I train don't know anything about X-ray, so they only use
and
LinkedIn
they don't,
Recruiter,
and what is always saying. Sorry, one more thought, and I try to shut up. But I was just chatting with a recruiter, and she was having LinkedIn Recruiter Lite, I think, and X-Ray. And what was really interesting, when she said that, I said, well, why don't you just pay for premium? And she said, well, because I will have some limitations with premium, which is true, right? The premium search engine has multiple bugs and limitations. However, LinkedIn X-Ray has also had its limitations. I mean, people, like, be frank. I mean, with the search engines, we were not able to see more than a few hundred results, and that's what runs me crazy. We go full more for a solution which actually has never ever been any holistic, like ever any complete. We had serious limitations within the X-Ray. Okay, Mike.
All right, yeah, Balazs, let's bring Mike in. Mike's going to say something. Go ahead.
So yeah, I would counter a little bit. There's some things that we've lost that I think we really have to acknowledge. The search capability we've lost, and there are unique ways to search through X-Ray that we can't do natively inside LinkedIn that we've lost. So some simple things that we've lost, for example, we've lost synonyms, right? So like Google is very powerful. If you put in the word like software engineer as like a search, and you were searching, it would look for software developers, programmers, SW engineer. It would have other synonyms, right? That's a simple thing that we've lost, right? We've also lost the wildcard operator, which LinkedIn does not have, which would fill in a few words. We've lost the number range operator. So if you were to say like somebody has managed 10 to 50 people, right? There's a number range operator that Google had that you could search for that we've completely lost. You can't do a number range on LinkedIn. Also, natural language searches, right? We've been promoting that for years, and we could use things like the around operator in Google to link a sentence together. Like you could say, I have 10 to 20 years of experience in supply chain management. And somebody might say that exact phrase on their profile, but if you use the around operator, you were able to find different variations of that natural language sentence of how somebody might say that. And so it gave you a better opportunity to zero in on somebody very specifically that would be qualified for maybe a search you're doing, and get a really clean, quick data set of candidates that were really accurate. And I mean, those are just simple things that we've lost. We've lost even, those were like kind of the baseline stuff, but there were other like really fun things that we were able to do that we can't do anymore. Fun things like recent job titles. Like we could find people by like, instead of just any time in their past, we could find people that had the last, let's say 3 jobs, their last 3 job titles, or last 5 job titles. People that were unemployed, we could find the job title that was associated with their last job that they left. Graduates, we were able to sync up their degree with their major and their graduation date. Like we could sync all 3 of those things together with X-Ray. We can't do that on LinkedIn directly. Past companies synced with past job titles. We could say, I want to find all the Amazon warehouse managers that formerly worked at Amazon as a warehouse manager and did so between the years 2016 and 2020. We lost recommendations text, where we used to be able to search that, or number of recommendations. So there's all these different
that's an
really
interesting
cool
point
that we've lost.
So just one observation, like I 100% with you, Mike. I mean, I like all of these, like search nuances, really. I mean, we all, I guess, in this call, right? But as an active trainer myself, and I guess Irina and Marcel probably can also echo this one. We love these things, like from a scientific perspective, these are extremely exciting stuff, really. I mean, we can spend nights together to really like go deep into the mechanism how these work. But recruiters they don't learn these things. They cannot learn these things. They don't have time to to conduct these searches. So for me, the whole interesting point is that we cry after something which people basically didn't ever use. And it's I don't know, I think we cry after something else, to be honest. I think there is something, a totally different phenomenon that we have to check now. Like, at least that's Hung, that was my that was my analogy with a high-end fashion, right?
No, I'll bring you in a second. I think I understand Balazs's point. Like, how big a scope is it when it comes down to the usage of Boolean techniques, X-ray searching techniques outside of a very narrow niche? Realistically speaking, it's always been a minority game. However, you guys have been successful training, right? I mean, you've built businesses training recruiters doing this, so there was an appetite for it, and there was an emergence of like sourcing expertise, sourcing academies. There was a kind of a movement going around, which is like saying, okay, we need to actually develop advanced skills to interrogate these systems because we can't trust the systems to deliver us the result. And that seemed to, give people some sense of competitive advantage. One of the things I think could actually emerge from this outcome is that if everyone gets pushed to LinkedIn Recruiter, firstly, some of us can't afford it, so we might actually be locked out of being able to deliver the solution. So I think it does debilitate recruiters that can't afford to go into LinkedIn Recruiter, which is, by the way, all the smaller players. The enterprise guy's fine, but if you set up a new company yesterday, for instance, suddenly you're no longer allowed to X-ray, you're going to be in trouble because your ability to supply service is going to be compromised. And the second point is that perhaps we're going to end up discovering more of the same people if we're just going through what LinkedIn give us. Like, one of the ways in which I think having being able to X-ray is that we X-ray in different ways, and therefore would surface up different candidates. So potentially we would have a diverse slate of people to deliver to the customers. Whereas now, if everyone's doing via the LinkedIn, recommended way to find people, presumably we're going to get the same people. I don't know. Irina, you wanted to say something for a while, so let's bring you in on this.
Yeah, how is my sound? I changed the mic. Is it any better?
It's kind of okay, but go on.
I'm sorry. I'll work on my technology. So I want to answer one question that was up high in the chat. What do I do to make myself found on Google? So on your profile, the beginning of your About section is seen. Put your job title there. Put what you do in the first sentence, okay? And then your articles are seen. You can put stuff there. A lot of your content is seen, right? And another thing, people like Mike Santoro, who is a genius at X-ray, I agree that there are few, right? Few people know how to X-ray. People who come, our students, like a team would come, who has used X-ray? Nobody. It's a typical case. But anybody who collects LinkedIn data providers on which people aggregators ride, they have two ways to collect the data. One way is public data. That way is bad because now their data will become outdated every day. Two, create fake LinkedIn profiles and scrape it from within. This is being done. David and I spoke with a guy who explained how it's done. He does it for small niches. So any data provider who depends on public data is in trouble. Will they resolve it? Will they send more fake profiles to LinkedIn to start getting fresh data? We don't know, right? And aggregators like Seekout, HireEasy, I believe they don't collect data themselves. They rely on some data providers. And that is sort of a little bit out of control. That's a problem. How many people here use people aggregators?
Respond in the comments there, folks. I mean, basically, if you don't know what a people aggregator is, don't worry. But it's essentially a tool that is going to pull public data together. Excuse me, aggregate sort of disparate social profiles into a single profile that you can search in an interface. A lot of people do. I mean, these are popular businesses. The likes of you mentioned a few of these products. I think probably we can have sympathy with those providers, but at the same time, it was noticeable that they were kind of becoming particularly, aggressive in saying, presenting themselves as a better alternative to LinkedIn. I think that kind of a marketing play is inevitably going to draw negative attention. So potentially they've been slapped by this, and maybe they're the ones in greatest trouble. But there's also cascade effects, as we mentioned. Mike, I think you want to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on not a lot of people use X-ray kind of an idea. Irina published a great article about a year ago or so that said, "Who needs LinkedIn Recruiter?" was like the title of the article. You could probably still find it. Well, who needs LinkedIn Recruiter? And she outlined basically all the things that you can do with like normal LinkedIn and also like X-ray, and like basically almost went like punch for punch with LinkedIn Recruiter on how you could basically get the same value, the same type of searches out of X-ray that you could out of LinkedIn Recruiter, which is their most premium product. And she was trying to make the case in that article that, hey, you don't really need LinkedIn Recruiter if you know how to use these X-ray techniques, right? So I think there are a lot of recruiters out there that have not taken the step to get like a LinkedIn Recruiter license. There's a lot of other recruiters out there that have not taken that step yet because they never, they were able to use these other methods to say, I could still get good value out of this without having to pay for it. But now you're really, if you don't understand how to search on LinkedIn Recruiter or Sales Navigator or Recruiter Lite, you really need to know how to do that, and that everybody's going to have to learn that if they're not good at it.
Mike, a really good point, and it's actually me, the person who didn't pay for LinkedIn Recruiter for a really, really long time, and so I've been really using this X-ray and teaching others. So what I know about sourcers, we are super resourceful. If something is going to be taken from us, we will find a way to get something else. And so if you look to other industries, so I have never seen in other industries, for example, we will take tech. GitHub. GitHub is the place where all developers are, like LinkedIn is the place where all recruiters are. What is GitHub is doing? GitHub is never giving up all the information to publicly available for everyone. It's protecting users and users. If they're not happy with something, they can influence. So in a way, I believe that we can find another solution, or maybe LinkedIn is really going to face that the industry is not happy with the changes, and they will have to do something about it, or we're going to do something about it. And my personal experience, I work with China, Singapore. I don't use LinkedIn because it's kind of blocked there. No one is posting their jobs there. No one is using that the way like we use it, for example, in Europe. And, I was still successful at my job, finding candidates. Everything is existing outside LinkedIn as well, like communities, meetups, groups, and X-ray actually there is super helpful. I will not survive with, I think I will not survive with without ability to X-ray, to use different wildcards. So that's just 2 cents from my side.
No, the really important, folks, this is only LinkedIn, and basically the techniques of X-raying can be applied to other sites. However, I think the number of sites that will go down the LinkedIn route are probably going to increase. We've already seen Reddit do that, we've seen Stack Overflow do it. The era of companies that have user behavior data, I think the walls are going to come up. And we're going to have a very different world, which I think is going to challenge fundamentally some of the core sort of the fertile soil from which the sourcing community emerged. So this is I think quite a significant issue. Before I go to Irina, I'll come to you in a sec because we are flying through this show. I want to make sure that this conversation obviously is going to continue even when we come off air, where we have to come off air in about 20 minutes or so. But it's really important, I think, we all get together as a community and continue talking about it. Because if we do care about it in one way or the other, it may well be through a public conversation we can do something to influence the situation. So take a moment, folks, grab your LinkedIn URL. We still have that, by the way. Go and stick it into the contact, sort of the chat stream if you're watching this on Crowdcast. and then connect with everyone who's done the same. If you're watching this on any of the LinkedIn lives that are out there, whether it's me, whether it's Juliana or Rob or anybody like that, grab your LinkedIn URL and share it in the comment thread there, and then connect with everyone else you see. Worst case scenario, you walk out of here with at least 100 plus connections. It will boost your network, and I think it will improve your crowd intelligence, your ability to keep on top of what is going on, which I think is critical situation for us. Okay, cool. There are a couple of people raised their hands. Marcel, you haven't said so much right now. Let me get you re-involved in this. What is your take on what recruiters should be doing going forward, given your assessment of the state of affairs? Let's say it is the case we lose LinkedIn X-ray. I think it does debilitate sourcing capability. The sourcing departments right now will have KPIs that will say you need to do this, this, and this, and then suddenly you lose a big component of how you do your job. You're going to miss some of those KPIs. How do we recover from that? What do we do? Do we start articulating the fact we've lost a key tool, or what do we do?
It's depending on what kind of roles you're searching for. If you're searching for, let's say, tech, you have to know how to X-ray and so on. But if you're looking for finance professionals, for example, in the Netherlands, they are all on LinkedIn. You have to be on LinkedIn, so you have to learn how to search on LinkedIn properly. You can use basic LinkedIn, you can use the Sales Navigator, Recruiter Lite, or Recruiter Secret. You have to be on LinkedIn. So it's really depending on what kind of target group you're searching for before you even go outside of LinkedIn. So, for example, in the Netherlands, we have a very high penetration rate on LinkedIn. We have 85% of all people in the Netherlands have a LinkedIn profile. That's really huge. And I always train people, go for the easy route, find them on LinkedIn. Don't go outside for any other stuff. Please find them on LinkedIn.
And bear in mind, every LinkedIn product will have its own different nuances, so you kind of got to get skilled in each. So it's kind of like driving different versions of the car. Depending on what sort of account you've got access to, you got to learn how to get good at it, I guess. Irina, you had your hand up?
Yeah. The solution to that is to learn to search on LinkedIn, and very few people know how to do it. The problem with LinkedIn is it prompts you with selections. As soon as you select anything, you lose half of LinkedIn. You select years of experience, you lose 60%. You select seniority, you lose 60%. You select a company, you miss people who are at that company. So the absolute #1 recipe is do not use selections, at least in some of your searches, okay? Use Boolean, at least in some of your searches. As soon as you have selected something, 2/3 of LinkedIn are gone, okay? This happens because LinkedIn is bad at recognizing its own data, okay? LinkedIn does not know that senior data engineer has a level senior, and so forth. It's everywhere. LinkedIn is so not ready for AI. That's one thing. And the second thing is the secret search operators in Recruiter. If you don't know about it, it's time to learn about them.
Yeah, well, we do know about it because you published sort of an article on this. So everyone needs to read that book. It's like
I need to buy the courses, man. No,
not that secret anymore. There's one comment, Mike.
Laughing a lot this morning.
Isn't it like an evolutionary story that some days I just feel like, when I was young, I hate paying for ground transportation in Hungary, to be honest, because that was the cool stuff. You don't pay for underground because, you just don't have a ticket. And, when you are caught, you just try to somehow escape, from the control. And that was all over the great adrenaline game. But that was when I was young. And, and nowadays I have no problem to pay for the ticket and, understand that I actually have to comply with some things. And, so according to Marcel and Irina, that's also our experience is that recruiters usually leverage the really tiny like usage percentage of the system. They usually use the general keyword bar on the top, and that's it. They put something there, they run a search, they may use a few filters, as Irina said, then they will exclude people that they will never really understand they have excluded, and that's it. And then they rely on that search. So instead of trying to bring in new tools, trying to bring in new shiny methods, whatever, like as an industry, I think, to be honest, the best advice is that you have to learn to source on LinkedIn. You have to understand not just the secret operators, but even without the secret operators, there are plenty of things that you can use. Marcel, you had this location story. That's brilliant, to be honest. I mean, that's brilliant. And even that really easy to understand concept is usually a challenge to understand for most recruiters. So, that's the way I see it. I think it's fine that it's paid. We just have to adjust the books from now going on. We just have to adjust the recruiting budget. We have to allocate some money. And by the way, you don't need LinkedIn Recruiter for everyone, but you have to pay something. So that's one. It's not free anymore. Fine, it's gone. Second is that you have to invest more into teaching these people how to use the system. And to be honest, sometimes I have this energy hunger, and I promise I'll stop. But, we blame ATS providers, right? Alla, you said that, like a fantastic ATS is an oxymoron in itself, or what was that, comment before?
Not just together, yeah.
Right, exactly. It's together, it doesn't work. But again, on that point, usually why we hate ATS systems because we don't understand how they work. We don't understand how to use them. Often this is the case. And that's somehow, I guess, is just an analogy to LinkedIn. Anyway, so I think, we have to really shift.
I get what you're saying. Go ahead, Alla.
I would say if they're working in a company and as a recruiter, LinkedIn is a package. So it should be something that is paid for you because it's quite expensive. But what about tons of recruiters who are freelancers, independents, consultants? I will not pay for LinkedIn seat myself. And for that group of people, I would say don't be disappointed or don't think that it's the end of the world because you still, as recruiters are smart, sources are smart, you will look into graduates. You will partner with the universities that that people who graduate these universities usually makes a really good developers. So maybe I can have access to alumni or something local. So I would say we need to kind of think and protect also individual freelancers, as I'm also myself is. So because, otherwise big companies like LinkedIn can just eat us. In a way.
Okay. On this note, very quickly, if you have any particular questions for our guests, please use the question feature on the right-hand side of your screen. Put the question in there. We're going to go to them in about 5 minutes. So that's where we want to try and draw. I know a lot of people have commented questions, but the comment stream is moving too far ahead. So ping them in there, and we'll get to them in a second. I do want to go back to this idea of the solo recruiter because the fragmentation of recruitment really was, I think, a positive thing because it meant that the customers had a lot more choice. They can choose which type of person, and oftentimes a boutique service would be a better option than someone working agency or someone working for a big organization and whatnot. And of course, we're talking about budget allocation. That's important. But, if you're a solo player on first year, running on not much, paying for a license is a significant roll of the dice. And by the way, the second question is, how much is LinkedIn Recruiter single license? Anybody want to put a number into chat? Let me know. Because that's the sort of thing that, we might need to look at when we've lost some of these techniques. And by the way, if our anticipation is correct that the people aggregators will be debilitated, they were generally a cheaper option than LinkedIn Recruiter. I think that's generally how they sold and marketed their services. So, that's not a place where we can go there. 10 grand, people are saying, looks like 10,000 US for a single seat, 95K rand. I think that is about 10 grand. So yeah, it's look, you can pay for it, but it's depending on where you're at. It's not an insignificant amount that you would chuck out there. Okay, let's talk about sort of can we trust LinkedIn's results? Like a second concern or third concern I have is, okay, let's say we all go down LinkedIn Recruiter, let's say we all get good at it, at least we, best practice, etc. But, can we trust what it produces and delivers to us? It seems that oftentimes if you obey what LinkedIn wants you to do as a searcher, it sometimes can give you the results that aren't actually what you want. What are our thoughts on that? Mike, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I mean, I think if you're sourcing on LinkedIn Recruiter at scale, you will recognize that you're going to get some false positive results, and you're going to get some results where things aren't indexed on even LinkedIn. Like Irina has pointed out, somebody that's associated with a particular company might not be tagged, so to speak, to that company properly. And so there are gaps. And if you use or not everybody's company has the amount of people there, or their years of experience aren't indexed properly. So for example, my profile, the years of experience is not indexed properly. And so if you're searching for somebody and you're putting on those filters, you're going to lose some of the results, and they're not always going to be comprehensive or accurate. So what you think you're getting is not always what you get, but it's really the best that we have. So we have to kind of use what we have. And I'll say, for what you were saying, Hung, about what should you do? Sales Navigator is probably the cheapest option, and that'll give you a lot of sourcing power because it's got more search capability than just your regular LinkedIn.com. But notably on Sales Navigator, you don't get those kind of hidden operators that Irina has published. You have to have LinkedIn Recruiter or LinkedIn Recruiter Lite, those versions, to be able to get access to some of those useful operators like headline and summary, and that are kind of useful in some search capabilities. So I think it's just, we're going to have to get better at LinkedIn searching. Yes, is the answer. But also the community, as a sourcing community, we've kind of, I think, need to pivot more towards LinkedIn and say, okay, let's teach how we can get better at LinkedIn as a community. Let's dive into how we can kind of exploit some of its features. Let's really look at that. I think that's going to be really the key to the next phase. And at the same time that we're losing X-Ray, LinkedIn is also making these changes, like LinkedIn Recruiter 2024. They're going to bring out some AI soon, search capabilities. They've just made a recent change last week where they're doing a must-have, can-have kind of option in the job titles field. These are interesting things that we've all not explored yet, that are going to add some nuances to maybe improve our search capability even on LinkedIn Recruiter. So time will tell as these new features roll out if maybe we lost some things, but we're gaining some things that are better. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
What is really, really interesting is that when a recruiter has LinkedIn Recruiter, they just forget that they can also use regular LinkedIn. And they, at least again, that's my impression, that they sort of have two the right brain and the left side brain is my right brain is my recruiter brain. I've got LinkedIn Recruiter, I use it for my company, and I have my other side of the brain which I use for my pleasure. That's my email, my inbox, my wall. And what we we work hard to explain to recruiters that even when you have LinkedIn Recruiter, you can use the other part of LinkedIn, which is, by the way, free, because there is a lot of search capabilities that you can use, on the free platform, like the universities, which, by the way, are not accessible with LinkedIn Recruiter, right? So when it comes to post search, when it comes to network search, when it comes to university search, when it comes to whatsoever, a list of things, event search, those things are not searchable via LinkedIn Recruiter. So again, there are millions of ways how you can find candidates with LinkedIn. And even if a LinkedIn Recruiter search might be buggy, fine, it can happen. But you can get out of LinkedIn Recruiter and you can go to a post search and you can check, the network of people, and you can tap into that network and move on and move on. Again, there are millions of ways how you can leverage LinkedIn. And I guess, that's the answer, Hung, to be honest. And that's, what Alla said, that, sources are usually really playful and, resourceful. Yes, because we know that the same, the challenge in sourcing is not to find someone, it's really just to find every potential candidate. But to find every potential candidate, you always have to change your aspect. You always have to have a new look on the talent pool, because if you always use the same look, you will always see the same people. And that's what recruiters don't really get. or they don't really have time for it, to be honest. I don't want to be the blamer today, to be honest, and I have to leave.
No, Balazs, we get the point. I sense your frustration, but the bottom line is, this is not good for people that need to find people. This is basically, at the very least, you're going to have to invest more time to relearn some techniques. It's difficult when you kind of spent time getting good at something and then suddenly you don't have the ability to use it, so you've got to re-spend time and reinvest. We're going to be slower, I think, in delivering to the hiring managers as a result of this. As an industry aggregate, we probably will just slow down generally. Even basic things like doing validation, like you might even know somebody and you want to quickly check, oh, where can I find this guy? Previously, you might be able to pull them up really quickly. Now you need to take several different steps. It's going to slow you down from doing it. So I think our performance, quote unquote, as an industry probably takes a backward step as a result of some of these things. Okay, let's go to questions. I don't think we have too many, but let's pile through them as best we can. We've got Dana.
Sorry, guys. I need to wrap up because I'm flying. So can I just say one last sentence? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 4, at least here. That you just said that it's not ideal to find people. It's not true. It's good to find people. I think what we have to say a lot. It's not easy to find people, and we have the tendency to believe that it's easy to find people. It's not, and that's why searching on LinkedIn is difficult, because it's not easy to find every person. I guess that's all. It's a hard job, to be honest. I mean, every monkey.
But it has. All I'm saying is it's got harder for more people, and that's generally not a good thing. But anyway, listen. Let's keep. I'm in the middle of answering these questions. So safe flight, Balazs. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Cheers. Ciao, ciao. Bye, bye.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to answer this question from Dana. Dana's saying, okay, Irina, did you say that the beginning of the about section is still searchable? Do you know how many characters? I think didn't Marcel say 88 characters is searchable?
Open your profile in incognito and count the characters. That's your space. Okay, I think it's like somebody counted them.
It's 88, I think, isn't it, Marcel? Go ahead. Yeah, I think so.
It's 88. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no worries. Alona's asked a question that's about LinkedIn Talent Insights. I think it is off sort of topic on this. We'll have to come back to that. I'm sorry, Alona. Okay, listen, I think we're coming to the end of the show. We have to just regroup. I think it's worth us keep talking about this. Obviously, there's going to be more changes, more evolutions going on. My own sort of advice to anybody who's leading a sourcing team or currently doing sourcing is number one, obviously be aware of the situation and avail yourself to what the scenario is. Number two, also understand that your general performance of you and your team is probably going to have a slowdown. Inevitably so. You need to know that. You need to also communicate that to people who might expect otherwise from you, because you might suddenly start getting feedback to say, where are my candidates? Because actually they need to know that we've lost a significant tool. We've got to regroup. And thirdly, I don't know, let's keep talking. Have LinkedIn made a permanent decision here? I don't know. Like, who made that decision? Is it just a local experiment? Is it possible there might be a local middle manager that decided, oh, let's do this, and unaware of the consequences? Is it from the top? Who knows? Let's keep talking. Let's see what information we can find. If you get a snippet, you want to keep it confidential, whatever, ping me a DM, guarantee you confidentiality, source security, all the rest of it. We just want to know where we're going with this and how confident we can or cannot be. All right, listen, we have to leave it there. We're going to try and bring this back. Essentially, we're going to probably do another show on this on the sources side, but I do intend to bring the aggregators in as well, because I want to get their opinion on this situation. I think it'd be very interesting to see how they're going to respond to this. And yeah, hopefully we're going to keep talking. Folks, thank you all for joining. Irina, Shamaeva, Marcel van der Meer, and Mike Santoro, thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to sort of get your insight, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, we'll say goodbye to Marcel. We'll say goodbye to Irina as well. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Follow the channel if you're interested in topics like this. We do this every week. Next week, I think we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We are going to do a special show that is focused on the US market in Pacific time. So it's going to be on the 23rd 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it's going to be out of time for a lot of people in the UK and Europe and so on. But we're going to talk, the reason why for this is because there's a really interesting report by a company called Checker, which is about the state of background checking compliance, and it's US specific. So we want to do it at that time. So if you're interested in that show, make sure you sign up for it. Follow the channel if you're interested in anything else. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Cool. That was all right, wasn't it, Alla?
Yeah, I you know what I think is we did get somewhere, right? So some people will think, okay, maybe I need to give feedback to LinkedIn about my position. Maybe I need to become more creative and look for the talent somewhere else. Or as we all like see that the Mike and Marcel and Irina and Balazs, they really know the subject very well. Like what is X-ray, how it works, what information is missing, what it means for me. So I just really wish that we will not be scared that much in a way, like, or disappointed, not scared. I think we're disappointed sometimes that things are breaking and not working. But guess what? In technologies, in the current world, things are changing so fast. Technologies are like broken so fast. So I would say, I think we just need to embrace these changes, and we will find the solution for sure. Like I have never seen us suffering with no solution in hands. Never.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to be positive, but at the same time, I do think that Mike's not wrong to say that there's a mourning period, because it is tough. Particularly if this was a skill for you. Like a lot of people develop deep skills on how to do this, and then suddenly it's out. But it's
we have to change. I mean, same with artists, with AI. Like there is AI right now that is creating the videos like a super top quality, and like Spotify right now. Like I don't listen to it anymore. Like I just get the summary and I get like all the juice straight away. So I think
like there's no doubt that we're in the middle of just a huge amount of change, and we've all got to be we can't be sitting there being comfortable with what we know, because firstly what we know may be wrong tomorrow based on changing circumstances, and secondly what we know may no longer be valuable. So really interesting. Anyway, what you got plans sort of this weekend? Anything interesting?
Interesting. Amsterdam is like super rainy, so that's not big plans in a way, but I do want to look into the topics that I was planning for myself to have like a goal to learn. And I actually really struggle right now where to put my effort, like prompt engineering. A lot of people getting certifications. Should I maybe just a little bit more in the analytics side? So maybe build my own tools. Maybe I should continue learning JavaScript and Python. So it's like, yeah, it's very challenging. I don't think that sourcer and recruiter should be just one thing that we do well. I want to add a skill in 2024 that is more technical. That's when I'm going to spend the weekend thinking, what is that skill I need to survive 2024.
And that's the reason why you are on top of your game, Alla. I would have thought you'd be partying, going to the club, but no.
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't. Yeah,
Hey, listen,
I'm a boring person.
Going to the Netherlands in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure whether that's actually end of February, beginning of March. I might actually be in the Netherlands for a couple of days.
Dev World. Do you know this is the biggest conference happening? Dev World.
Yes, I do know DevWorld, but I didn't know when it was. I'm not going to it.
29. I'm happy to invite you, and there's going to
be
no,
don't do that. Yeah, not to say I don't want to do it. It's just basically I'm flying back to UK, I think 26th, 27th, and I'm not sure I've got that much time before I have to go again. So this is part of the reason why I'm not sure. But, hey,
coffee.
Yeah, I mean, basically, True Rotterdam, sorry, 1st of March. That may be the excuse for me to go. And yeah, anyway, that's a possibility. So if I'm there, I'll let you know.
Oh, please. So,
all right.
Yeah, nice show. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for being great. I'll see you soon, okay?
See you soon. Bye.